Yo, what's going on, guys? Matthew V. Haynes here, aka the Clock Master. I'm here with my wife,
Shannon, aka Cosmic Binks.
She's joining me here today to talk about Cowboy Bebop. We had the chance to watch all of the episodes ahead of time, so thank you over the folks over at Netflix for sending this for us to watch for review. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to share our basic thoughts, pros, cons, overall feelings, thoughts on it. Should you watch it? Should you not watch it? And to give you a basic spoiler-free thoughts on the show. Also, guys, we filmed our reactions to the episodes. We can't release them now. We'll be releasing them once the show drops November 19th on Netflix. So look forward to our reactions. If you're new here and you've seen our review, I look forward to our reactions to the show later on. So this video is being recorded after we already filmed our reaction, so just keep that in mind. So for those who do not know anything about Cowboy Bebop, I'm just going to give you a quick synopsis. Cowboy Bebop is an action-packed space western about 3 bounty hunters, also known as cowboys, Spike Spiegel, Jet Black, and Faye Valentine. As they travel throughout space, the snarky crew is ready to hunt down the solar system's most dangerous criminals. All right, guys, that's all I'll honestly say on it. I feel like you would benefit more from the trailer or actually going and watching the anime. I do think the anime would be a great place to start, but we'll talk more about the anime later throughout the review. The show is starring John Cho as Spike Spiegel, Mustafa Shakir as Jet Black, and Daniella Pineda as Faye Valentine. All right, guys, so I'm actually gonna have Shannon start with this. What are your overall thoughts on the show, your basic feelings about the entire show?
No, I really enjoyed the show as a whole. It really brought the right feel from the anime and brought it over like into real life. So overall, I enjoyed it. It's definitely not, cut and paste. So I feel like that could be good or bad for certain people, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good adaptation. So yeah, I'm actually going to piggyback off of her on that one. I felt overall the show was very good. It was decent. I thought it was one of the better adaptations I've seen for an anime. Not everything is copy and paste, as you just mentioned. There are some changes. There are some things in the storylines that's a little bit different from the anime, and we won't get into specific details because we can't. You guys have to wait. But there are things that are a little bit different. Some things may work for you, some things may not work for you. But overall, I do feel that some of those changes were actually really good, and it helped enhance the story and the overall experience for the show. What are your thoughts on the story? Like, what are your thoughts on how the story played out? Definitely there was a lot that I was not expecting, and there were changes to the overall story that I had mixed feelings about certain things, but overall I think the story went in a good direction, and just feeling it out, I enjoyed the thing as a whole.
Yeah, I would say the same too. I mean, there were some parts that I was a little not sure where things were gonna go with it, but seeing everything from beginning to end and how it all wrapped up, to me, I think really solidified my overall feelings on the story. And there were some, like I said, there were some things that felt very, very similar. If you're a Cowboy Bebop fan, you watch the anime, you're gonna be like, okay, I recognize this, I recognize that. But then again, they add their own creative things to it that make it feel, new for even people who've already seen the anime, and for people who are now coming in, they add some extra layers of spice to it that will make you feel like you're watching a completely different, unique show. So there are little Easter eggs and stuff in there for the hardcore fans. Yes. That would definitely appreciate some of that. But there's just enough of new story in there as well for the newer viewers, the newer fans coming into it. So I feel like overall the story was pretty good. What are your thoughts on the acting of the show? Did you feel like any specific actors stood out to you? Like, what are your thoughts on all of that?
Specifically, I think Jet stood out the most. Mustafa Shakir, he really killed that role. He really took like Jet and made it not even his own, but in his own, in a way.
Yeah.
So he kept like the right essence of Jet and just expanded on it, and he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I agree. I've definitely Mustafa Shakir as Jet is one of the things you guys should look out for. Was his interpretation of Jet was really great. There was just so many things that he added to his performance, and that's very similar to the anime, and that's really brings the character to life on screen. Yeah. There's only so much we can say because we can't get into certain specifics
in detail
about the character and certain parts of the story. But I will say though, just overall, the way how he brings he brings a character to life, and definitely was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Watching this show, I know some people would have some concerns about Faye. I will just say this personally. I enjoyed Danielle Pineda's interpretation of Faye. I enjoyed what she did with the character. I did have some issues with certain things, which I'll talk about later, because we are going to go over positives and negatives, which I wrote down. I don't know if you wrote them down, but we are going to go over some positives and negatives before we wrap up the overall thoughts. But yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree with you on Faye. I think she did an amazing. I think our main actors did an amazing job.
Yeah.
So, John Cho, I had trouble seeing him as Spike.
Yeah,
before
first.
We watched
it. Yeah.
But seeing him really do his thing, made Spike come to life.
Yeah, definitely. I would say I did have my concerns too about him as you know, playing Spike. Is, you know, we know Spike is young and smiley and stuff like that. But as you guys watch the show, I think you will see why they chose to go with him as Spike. Because you can tell, like, within the show, the writers and the directors, even some stuff that we've learned, like, everyone put their heart and soul into this. And you can see that throughout the show. They were there, you know, the people working on the show were fans of the anime and really spent time, and John Cho really spent time getting to understand his character and who he was playing. So you can really see a lot of that, honestly. Like, I was legit worried. I was legit worried going into this, not sure how they were going to, you know, and I was even worried up to certain parts of the episodes, but then, you know, as things start to go along, we were like, okay, we see why they did this and why they chose who they chose. So yeah,
you know, every casting was very, very spot on.
I would say so. Yeah, I would agree on that one. I would agree on that one.
Everyone's adaptations of their characters were amazing. So,
and I think you have to be a little open-minded too about the fact that this is an adaptation, because if you're looking at it like pick for pick, you're gonna be a little disappointed if you're trying to get everything to be, every single detail to be the same.
Not, like I said earlier, it's not cut and paste. They change things, they get rid of things. You know, there's so much that is different, but it still feels like Cowboy Bebop. Yeah,
it still feels like Cowboy Bebop, and it's they like we said, they still do a really good job in making sure that it feels like Cowboy Bebop, that it feels like you're really watching Cowboy Bebop. That I did not question myself at all that I was watching Cowboy Bebop. I did not. I wasn't like watching this, I'm like, man, this is a different show. Like, this feels like a different show. Like, I didn't get any of that personally. I didn't feel like that at all, period. So yeah. Do you think that there was any like chemistry between you know, John Cho, like Spike, Faye, and Jet? Do you think that there's any chemistry on set? Like, did you feel any of that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, their chemistry on screen, like, you really felt like they were
Bebop
friends.
Crew.
Yes.
Yeah.
You like more so, like, it felt like they were siblings. Yeah. And like, you know, like, I've said this before to you.
Yeah, with the anime.
Yeah. That Jet always felt like the dad.
Yeah, Jet always felt like a dad in the anime, for sure.
I really think that was, you know, directly brought to the show.
Yeah, I feel like everything you see about Jet in the anime, I think it was just whatever you want to take from that. I feel like it was represented in a really good way. Yeah. We can only lightly talk about that.
Yeah, very, very lightly.
Anime comparison thoughts. Obviously, we can't go into detail, but like, do you feel like people should go into this expecting, like, we kind of talked about, we kind of really answered that question a little bit already. But is there anything that you could take from the anime that you would compare to this in any way? Like, what are your thoughts on like people comparing this to the anime?
Well, I mean, I would definitely suggest watching the anime before watching the show, because I know there's some people that are gonna go into it and be like, oh yeah, no, it's just a show I can watch, and it is a show you can just watch. But I feel like you will appreciate it more as a show if you do watch the anime. I do agree.
Yeah, I agree on that.
Yeah, but you know, just for comparison's sake, I wouldn't judge it too harshly, because there's a lot that's the same, there's a lot that's different. So if you are expecting to go in and just see a recreation of the anime, you're gonna be disappointed.
Yeah, definitely. I do, and I'll piggyback on that. If you watch the anime and you have a little open mind to it, the anime is still there. You can always go back and enjoy that. Yeah. But definitely use that as a basis, and then when you come here, like, you'll recognize certain things. You'll be like, okay, I like that they did that, I like that they did this, yada yada yada, you know, and continue on that. So we are gonna flip a coin. This is a little part of our review. We're gonna flip a coin. Heads is gonna be positive thoughts, and tails is gonna be negative thoughts or any negative feedback or criticism that we
Yeah,
can.
because we don't know which one to do first.
Yeah, we don't know which one to do. Okay. All right, so we are gonna talk our positives first. I would have preferred to do negatives first, but it is what it is. We're here to do this. So I have some positives. I don't know if you want to start first or
I didn't write anything down.
Okay.
So
if you think of anything as I'm going on this, so
you rattle off and I.
Yeah. So one of my positives is definitely the music. We have the original composer back on this, Yoko, doing this, the score for this. One of the positives is 1,000% the music.
Yes, that definitely like made the show really feel like the anime.
It definitely made it feel like we're watching Cowboy Bebop because, excuse me, if we didn't have, honestly, I don't think if we didn't have her come back for this, I don't think that it would have felt the same. I felt there's a certain charm to her composition style and the way that she makes the songs for the anime as well. But for in this, everything just kind of fits the way it's supposed to fit.
Yeah, and she really put like her heart and soul into the soundtrack.
Yes, yes.
And you can really tell.
Yep, every single episode, everything, all the songs, just... If there's anything you get out of this, from this experience, let's say you don't like the story, let's say you don't like the acting, if there's anything that you get out of this, it would definitely be the music. Another positive, we kind of touched on a little bit, was Jet, who's Mustafa Shakir's portrayal of Jet. We love Jet. We loved how he really embodied the character, and that was definitely one of the major positives for me in this show. That he was definitely like a glue for me in the show. That definitely I was really invested in his performance as Jet and the storyline that Jet was going on. So,
yes, definitely.
Yeah. Another positive I had was the world and the world building. I feel like there's definitely a lot of good world building in this. It feels like the Cowboy Bebop world. It doesn't feel like it's not. Every location that we go to, everything that you love about Cowboy Bebop in terms of like space travel and sci-fi and yada yada, everything that you've seen in the trailers too, like it's there. Like everything about that is there. I don't know if you agree with me.
No, I definitely agree with that. Not all of the set design was very accurate to what it
costume
what
design
it feels
too.
Like. Yeah, costume for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Yeah, and on the on-screen chemistry, we touched a little bit about that. There's a lot of on-screen chemistry, and that really helped
from the get-go.
From the get-go, because if we didn't have any chemistry with the Bebop crew, I mean, like, what are you doing? Like, what show are we watching? So the chemistry was definitely there, and I feel like that's one of the positives.
Yeah.
So negatives, I have some. I don't know what you wrote.
Mine are written down out there, so I'll just rattle off.
Yeah, you can start whatever negatives you have.
Yeah, one of my main negatives is some of the script choices. I feel like some of it didn't feel as accurate to the character.
Yeah.
It did, like, it was a very little nitpick.
Yeah.
It wasn't the whole thing.
It wasn't the whole thing, yeah.
But yeah, no, that's just one of my main gripes.
Yeah, that was the first thing that I wrote too. There was definitely an issue that I personally had with the script. I'm not gonna say with who or with what. When you see our reactions to it, you'll see when we release reactions when it releases on Netflix. You will see what we mean. But yeah, there was a lot of some script choices, and to kind of piggy off to my second negative was with some of the delivery with the screenplay. I feel was just a little bit off with certain things. It didn't really and it wasn't like she said, it wasn't every episode, it wasn't like the whole thing, it was just certain episodes, and it's a little bit more of a nitpick, but we wouldn't be really critiquing the film without having a little nitpick, right? It's a little nitpick, but there was some things that just didn't really, it was a little janky. It didn't really fit the way some of it felt out of place a little bit, but they recovered in moments. There are moments that were like up here and moments that were just like they could have done without that. I wrote down that there were some minor pacing issues.
Yeah, very minor.
Very minor. Very minor.
Only in very it was just in slower parts.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it wasn't too bad. It was unbearable.
Yeah, it wasn't unbearable, but it was just certain parts I was just I don't really know. And then, because I don't have too much negatives, but one of the other negatives that I had, because I feel like the strongest negative I had was just some of the script choices. Yeah. But, and then the other ones I had was minor plot choices, which we can't get into detail, but there were certain storylines that weren't really working for me. While on the other side, there were some storylines that did work for me. But as I said, it's a minor thing because overall, where the show wrapped up, everything made sense and everything kind of connected as one cohesive project. So you just kind of have to really sit through and write it out and see, you know, there are going to be points where it's gonna be like, I don't know, but you kind of just got to write it out and see where certain things kind of connect.
Yeah. I think my only other negative that I might actually be taking back, having seen the rest of it, was some of the portrayals. Very minorly.
Yeah, I agree. There were some things in portrayal wise that was like a little, I don't know exactly what we're talking about. That was a little like, I don't really know too much like about it. And then, like I said, throughout watching the entire project, you're like, okay.
Yeah, that was like a few episodes ago that we were, even like from the beginning, we're kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about this. And then, you know, as time, as
episode, it's weird because you're watching an adaptation, so you have certain expectations for it. So it feels weird at first, but then as you kind of see how they're setting up certain things, you can see the direction that they're going in. By the time it fully tells its story, you're like, okay, I see what they're trying to say.
I do want to add one more positive because I just remembered it. The cinematography.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There were some very beautiful shots.
Yeah, and some good editing too. Like during some certain spots which you can't get into, but certain spots had some really good editing to it. So I feel like really like spiced it up a little bit. Spiced it up a lot. And like cinematography wise, was definitely really good. Choreography too, like fight choreo was really good in certain episodes. You're like, dang, okay. Yeah. Okay, so with that, we're actually gonna wrap up this review with ending thoughts and our overall ranking. So what are your last like ending thoughts on the series, and then what's your ranking of the series? Like, what would you give it on a numerical scale 1 to 10, and then like A, B, or C, or F? A, B, C, D, or F?
Overall, I do really love the show. Especially, I feel like you need to give it time to really develop before you make a rash decision. But yeah, no, I think it's a great show. I'm excited to see everyone's reactions to it, and overall, I think I'd probably give it about a B.
Okay, yeah. Because
there are some things I would change, some things I wish they would have kept, and I give it like an 8 on a numerical scale. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's my closing thoughts. I would recommend it though.
Yeah, I would. I'll pick you off a little bit too. I would recommend it. Excuse me. I would say give it a chance. Give it a fair chance.
At least a few episodes.
Yeah, give it a few episodes. I would say give it at least to halfway, just so you know what you're getting into. But I will say everything pays off, and in my personal opinion, watching everything from front to back really does pay off, and the story does become one cohesive story, and it becomes really something that's really unexpectedly different and good and unique, but also similar at the same time. Yeah. So I say give it a fair chance. I know a lot of hardcore fans are going to be judging this to the T, so I say go with an open mind, give it a fair chance. If you don't like it, then you can always go back to the anime. But I would say don't just not watch it because you see some bad reviews. I hope that other people share our opinion on this. Yeah. I don't think the show was a failure. I think the show is pretty good. I originally was giving it a 7, but I bumped it up to like a 7.5, 8 out of 10. Just because I did have some minor problems, as I mentioned. I did have some issues and certain things I can't get into specifically what I didn't like about it. Later on when you see the spoiler review, when there's later on, then you'll see what I'm talking about. But there was just certain things that just didn't really hit me too right. Which is why I'm giving it that ranking. But overall, I give it like a C plus, a B minus, somewhere around there. Yeah. So
that's pretty fair.
Yeah, it's by no means perfect, y'all. Like I'm not even trying to give a safe response. I'm just giving a genuine response, like, because like I said, up until we finished it, there were certain parts where I'm like, bro, I don't even know. Yeah. And then like I said, when I saw everything, I'm like, okay, I actually really like this. So C plus, B minus. That's overall, where I'm at.
I would say definitely watch the anime.
Yeah.
And you can see where it takes inspiration from.
Yeah, definitely.
But do not expect it to be like exact.
Word for word, frame for frame.
Yeah.
It's not. There are some moments that are frame for frame and you're like, dang, nice.
Yeah.
So, you know.
But no, even if you don't like the anime, I feel like you'll like the show.
Yeah. If you don't like, yeah, it's something in there for everybody, I think.
Yeah.
It's good. So, yep, that be our review. Yeah. That's it. That be our thoughts on it. That be our thoughts on it. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing your thoughts and your reviews, and your comments on the episodes when it drops for everyone on November 19. Okay, if you don't got Netflix, get Netflix. The anime is on there now. We're not paid to say any of this, by the way. This is all complimentary. This is all for critique and for review. So we're not being paid to say any of this, but definitely check out the link down below. If you don't have Netflix, join it, watch the show. I say give it a chance, honestly, especially if you're already interested in the anime. Genuinely give it a chance. Like, I feel like you walk away with it from something. And if you don't like it, then you don't like it. That's it. Yeah, definitely check out Shannon's channel down below. She also does YouTube for those who are new here. Link is down below. And we'll see y'all Windows when the show drops. Yeah, we see y'all when the show drops. Yeah, thanks so much for watching. Clockmaster and
Cosmic Banks
out.